Welcome, everybody. This is your favorite piece of Rebel Scum, Blood Guilty, and today I'm here to talk about the state of Star Wars. Let's be honest, ever since the firing of Gina Carano, Star Wars has not been in a good state. After the last movie, Solo, losing a lot of money, Disney has decided to stop making movies, which turns the Star Wars event that happened every 3, 5, 10 years, whatever it was, or that's gone. That event is gone, guys. Star Wars has now been lowered to a TV series. That's right, folks, a television series. And let's be honest, not a very good one at that. In fact, the last time I remember good or great Star Wars was when The Mandalorian Season 2 happened, the finale. Guess what? It had Luke Skywalker in it. Need I say more? So, it's sad that Star Wars is in this state, because although the Ahsoka series has some good points, has some low points, very low as well, but altogether, let's be honest, it's got lightsaber fights, it's got star battles, space battles, ground battles. We got to see the Clone Wars in live action, which was kind of cool, especially since I fancy myself a Clone Wars era expert, whatever that means. It was cool to see it. Wasn't necessarily necessary, though. I like the animation, the Clone Wars, the animated series, better. I didn't need to re-see a lot of stuff in live action, literally shot for shot, the exact same thing. I didn't really need that. The Anakin Skywalker is more of a member berries, guys. It is. It's a member berries. Because really, what's going on with Ahsoka? She's not actually in the world between worlds. So it's some sort of force, vision, dream, or manifestation in her head. At least that's where I think this is going. If it's not, then Dave Filoni is changing canon yet again, let alone his own canon. Or maybe it's changing it, but ultimately adding on to what the world in between worlds was. Originally, this was a place that is just that, a world between worlds. It was a spot where you could go to that was giving you access to any era of the Star Wars universe, okay? It started with the Father, the Son, and the Daughter. So for those of you that aren't familiar, you have to go back and watch Clone Wars animated series. You'd have to watch a few episodes to understand that. Just a quick, basically the Father's the complete force, The Daughter is the light embodiment of the light side. The Son's the embodiment of the dark side. For all argument's sake, it's the Trinity, the Holy Trinity. For those of you that are familiar with that biblical reference. The Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Same type of idea. And then in Rebels, we had this world between worlds. And so, in case you're wondering, if you're watching Ahsoka and you're confused about some of the characters or some of the things that are going on, that's because you didn't watch the Clone Wars or Rebels. Yes, that's right. You have to go back and watch these things in order to understand what's going on, even though Filoni lied and said that you didn't. One of my other issues with him is Filoni. Let's start off with the positives. The man makes great animated Star Wars. He does. The Clone Wars, to me, is the best Star Wars we've gotten, the animated series, since Return of the Jedi. That's my belief. So I believe that Dave Filoni, under the right supervision, George Lucas, for example, could make great animated Star Wars. He could probably make great live action Star Wars too. It's just he's not doesn't have the right supervision. The man is adding in things that George Lucas clearly said no to. Go get a history lesson. This is a video. Okay, this is going to be a 10-15 minute video. So, I'm not going to sit here and name all these things, but basically all this, Ahsoka the White, I can go on. I can have a list for you if you really want it. Let me know down in the comment section. But he is doing everything that George says no to. As soon as George is out of the picture, he's now doing all these things that George originally said no to. And the reason he said no to it is because it's not in the Star Wars universe. We're not in Lord of the Rings, guys. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, we are. We got the Eye of Saruman and the Ahsoka the White. I mean, come on. Really? Both of those things? Like, you can't tell me that this isn't Lord of the Rings in Star Wars, guys. That's the whole reason George said no to that. There's several other things, but Filoni has been inserting these things into Star Wars since George left. So, he's also been stealing from the EU, Expanded Universe, or Legends, Star Wars. He's been cherry-picking and stealing from it. Timothy Zahn made Heir to the Empire. Luke, Leia, Han, Thrawn. Okay? Not Ahsoka. Not what we're getting now. Okay? He may use this as maybe like the beginning of... I don't know where he's going to go with this because, like I said, I don't even know what was it. Were they really in the world between worlds? Was Anakin and Ahsoka really there? I mean, Ezra could hear lightsabers. For some reason, or Ezra. Jason, I believe that's his name, could hear lightsabers. Hera could hear him too, and she's not even force sensitive. So... That's what that kind of makes me think that they were in the world between worlds, and that Filoni's just adding on to it, or again, changing canon, his own canon, once again. I think that, so it's very confusing of what Anakin really was, but there's one thing that you can't fool me with, and that is member berries. That's what that was and is so far, is member berries. Remember Anakin Skywalker? Yeah, I remember him. Luke's dad, turned into Vader. Yeah. Yeah, look at. Ahsoka. Anakin. Clone Wars. Remember? Yeah, we do remember. Okay, and that's literally all this has served. Like, look at the story, guys. The purpose, the literal purpose of it was for member berries. It didn't have anything to do with the story so far. And for those of you that think, oh, well, yeah, or there'll be people that say, yeah, it did because Anakin needed to finish her training and she needed to get... That already all happened. Guess what? Didn't you guys watch the Clone Wars? Oh, maybe that's why Dave said you didn't have to watch it, or Rebels, to understand Ahsoka or to get what's going on. Maybe he didn't want you to know because he's changing canon yet again. It blows my mind. It's unbelievable. Okay, so we're going to change canon. She had to go through that. So you're wrong. We did need that, right? Well, no, we didn't. Like I said, it already happened. It already happened in Clone Wars. And what exactly happened? She learned to live? To fight and live instead of not fight and die? Like, isn't she a Jedi Knight? Like, I'm confused because last time we seen Ahsoka, they were giving her the Jedi Council was around, and they were giving her the rank of Jedi Knight. So a Jedi Knight hasn't learned that you have to live, you have to fight, and if you don't fight, you'll die? Like, are you serious? This is a freaking Jedi who lived through the dang Clone Wars, people. She lived through the Clone Wars. You don't think she knows that? Oh, she needed to revisit it. Because why? Member berries. My point. Anyway, I digress. We'll move on from that. There's also a lot of things going on with the fans and between original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, and I'll make a new bracket called Disney Star Wars. Okay? Those four groups are bickering amongst each other, as Star Wars fans always are. This is nothing new. This has happened. Star Wars fans are very passionate about Star Wars. Okay? Need I say more? Okay, I will. Passionate, so passionate to the fact that many people would call us toxic. We're not toxic. Of course, there's toxicity in every group. What I'm saying is that we are passionate about Star Wars. And because of that, the groups will argue and bicker amongst themselves. One thing that we all want is great Star Wars. I know that every single Star Wars fan wants that because I'm one of them. Star Wars to be great again, that would be every Star Wars fan's dream come true. In order for that to happen, you got to have a full retcon. Uh, you know, if all roads lead to the sequel trilogy, Star Wars is not saved. This show is just a little bit better than the last Star Wars show that we got, which, let's be honest, wasn't that good. Okay? Just saying. That's all we'll have. Star Wars, it's going in too many directions. There's too many directors taking Star Wars into too many different directions. There's no continuity whatsoever between anything that we've got since Disney purchased it. Since Disney took the IP over, nothing has been cohesive. It hasn't even really been that coherent. In fact, a lot of plot holes and a lot of more questions, really. If I'm going to be honest, it's made more questions. If Disney wants about the forgotten fan base, the ones that left after The Last Jedi and the firing of Gina Carano, if you want those fans to come back, you need to do a full retcon, and even then a full retcon will not bring all of those fans back. Some of them are done for Star Wars for good. And that's scary to me because that could be me one day. Believe it or not. It really could. I'm doing, a dark side, light side sleeve, which isn't complete yet, but that's been my plan, and I've been doing it for a while. And I kind of stopped getting ink, and I stopped making videos on this channel. And the reason why is because I felt that Star Wars was lost. To be honest, I still feel that way. A part of me does. But there's also another part of me that feels that there's a possibility for Star Wars as long as the fans unite and demand for Star Wars to be great again. Demand Disney start producing great Star Wars. And you'd have to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy and several other people in there. And that's the only thing I believe that can really save Star Wars. That, or if you use the World Between Worlds to retcon Rey Skywalker trilogy. Let's just call it that, okay? Because that's what it is. Which we know isn't going to happen because Disney is said they're making a Rey Skywalker movie. They're also making a Lando movie, which even the biggest Lando fans aren't asking for. Okay? I'm one of them. I love Lando. I absolutely loved his character. I never asked for a Lando movie. I didn't. I'm just saying. I also never asked that Lando have relations with a droid and fall in love with a droid. I never asked for that weird stuff either. What's happening to the reason why Star Wars is really at such a poor state is because the people over at Disney Lucasfilm, they want to insert identity politics and their own politics into the Star Wars instead of just making good Star Wars, which is the first mistake. Second, firing Gina Carano. Third, all the crappy lightsaber fights that we've been getting. They don't sound right. They don't look right. They don't use them right. Disney even calls them light swords, guys. I mean, what's that? A light sword? I mean, no, no. This is not Lord of the Rings. I feel like I have to keep repeating myself, but apparently it's it. There's a mix. Disney Star Wars is a mix between Willow, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, and the bottom line is that right now the Force is female, and that is not George Lucas's envision of Star Wars, and you should not be taking it in that direction because it divides the fans. But at the same time, I also believe that Disney wants that to happen. They want to divide the fans. So, however you look at it, I'll tell you, the good Star Wars that Disney's made, Mandalorian season 2, the finale, the last 2 episodes, those were good. The Clone Wars, the last season, was done under Disney. That was good. In fact, I think the Clone Wars animated series as a whole is the best Star Wars we've gotten since Return of the Jedi. Change my mind in the comment section down below. And they also, a lot of the shows, like Andor specifically, I think Andor could have been really good as a movie with the right editor. That should have been a movie. Along with this Ahsoka series, this should be a movie too. You got a lot of long, drawn out, boring stares, arms crossed, type of, just a lot of dead air. And, with a movie about 2.5 hours, most movies range from, things are going to be a little more sped up, and you're going to have a lot of unnecessary scenes cut out of it. And so I kind of feel like with the right edits, Andor and this Ahsoka series could have been a lot better. Also, I think the original idea for Kenobi, him and Luke, I think that would have been better served as a movie as well. But basically, guys, most everything else has been not so good to a fail, all right? I don't want to get in the numbering from 1 to 10 thing right now. That's not what this video is about, but very poor, very poor. This video is getting long enough. I feel like I'm hitting a lot of the same points twice. But again, full retcon needs to happen in order for Star Wars to be saved. They need to start making Star Wars an event again, meaning that it's not just a television series like what it is now. Star Wars needs to be great again, and us as fans need to demand it, or demand a sell. That's the bottom line. Disney has not given us a lot of good Star Wars product. They've been giving us basically average to below average to a big win every now and then. For example, Mandalorian season 2 finale, right? I've said it a few times. Or the Clone Wars animated series. Rebels was okay. To some parts were good, in my opinion. Not as good as the Clone Wars. But really, this Force is female, Dave Filoni lying, using the absence of Lucas to insert things that Lucas said no to putting that into Star Wars. There's a large picture of things that are going wrong with Star Wars. There is. So for it to be saved, several things need to happen, but all of which are things that I've spoke about in this video. Final thoughts are, I want to thank everyone and welcome you back to Rebel Scum Network. We had a long hiatus, took a long break. Like I said, Star Wars was in a poor state. I was in a poor state with Star Wars, and I didn't feel like making videos regarding it. However, I do feel now that there are some positives with Ahsoka and negatives. Negatives to me kind of outweigh the positives, but the series isn't over. That could change. We discussed the world between worlds. It was originally, like I said, a place that you go to where you travel to any era of Star Wars. It was a real physical place. As to this manifestation dream that we've seen in the Ahsoka series, the original father, daughter, son arc, or Trinity arc of the Force is being transferred. I think Dave Filoni is kind of transferring it, again, retconning his own thing to a limbo state, if you will. Or who knows, maybe this place they were at, there's a higher connection to the Force, yada, yada, yada. Bottom line is she got transferred to it. Maybe it was just a manifestation. Maybe people that aren't Force sensitive can hear lightsaber duels in your Force dream or in the world between worlds. The bottom line, guys, I don't know what I'm watching. Like I said, I know when I see member berries, but I don't know what this is. And I've seen Clone Wars. I've seen every episode of the Clone Wars 3 times, and I've seen every episode of Rebels once. So you cannot tell me that I don't know because I didn't watch that, okay? I did. Filoni is adding things to it, or this is some sort of Force dream, if you will, that Ahsoka had. The bottom line is the EU and Legends kept us alive as Star Wars fans for over a decade. And now Dave Filoni is trying to come in and take what Timothy Zahn did with Heir of the Empire and say, guys, I'm going to retcon that too. No, buddy, we don't want you to. Stay away from Star Wars, dude. Go stay away from this era, this Skywalker saga. Either go so far into the future that they're dead or so far into the past that they hadn't begun yet. One of the two. Stay away from Skywalker saga era Star Wars. Please. Please, Disney. Because you guys are doing way more damage than you are good. My opinion. The fan base as a whole around Echo Base Network did a poll the other day. Around 52% says Ahsoka's positive for Star Wars and that it's saved. And 48% think that it's average to below average and that it's not going to save Star Wars. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Also, I should have said this at the beginning of the video, but I am saying it now. No thoughts here on Rebel Scum Network were approved or ran through Nick or Coach over at Echo Base Network. I wanted to make that clear since I am associated with Echo Base Network and have been for quite some time. I believe since they had like 1,200 subs or something like that. But I digress. Coach and Nick don't have anything to do with this channel besides the fact that they encouraged me to do this channel. Not directly, but indirectly. They inspired me to create this channel. That's the only thing that they have to do with this. I want to make it clear because I don't want people to think that my thoughts or what I'm broadcasting on this channel reflects anything that over at EBN or that Coach and Nick are doing. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear. Like I said, probably should have said that at the beginning, but for those of you that are confused or question that, they may agree with some of the things I'm saying, they may disagree with some of the things I'm saying, but at the end of the day, everyone is a Star Wars fan, and that's the point of Echo Base Network, is for where all era fans can come together and show our love for Star Wars. And that's the best thing about Echo Base Network, honestly. Also wanted to say recently, one of our members has passed away, Cardinal Sin. My prayers are with his family and the community and everyone that knew him. Rest in peace. Trying to think of any other announcements. I don't really think of any other announcements besides welcome back to Rebel Scum Network, guys, and I really appreciate everyone being here. And sorry about the quality of the videos. As the channel grows, the videos will get better. Until next time, may the Force be with you.